here's a little interesting nugget. Martellus Bennett absolutely ripped Brandon Merriweather, of course, the safety for the Washington football team. And the reason that Martellus Bennett went after Brandon Merriweather is because Brandon Merriweather went after some of the Bears players. I was watching that game. I actually got so heated that I tweeted at Roger Goodell because, he follows me. No, he doesn't. And here's what I basically said. Dear at NFL Commissioner, hey at NFL Commissioner, if you want to clean up your league and not have some of your players have CTE later in their careers, take Brandon Merriweather out of the league completely. Because all he does is launch. He launches himself into players. Yeah. Doesn't know how to tackle at all. However, on the Bors and Bernstein show, I'm a frequent listener of Bors and Bernstein on CBS Radio in Chicago. Here's what Martellus Bennett said about him getting suspended 2 games. Here's what Bennett said. We don't get any of his money. So I love that already. On Merriweather joking that someone's going to have to cover his dinner bill because he got fined and suspended, he said, scumbag. That's it. Just quickly, briefly, scumbag, and that's it. And here's the last one, then I'll get your take. These guys getting hit illegally have kids. They have livelihoods. You never want to see that happen to a guy, and I don't think you want to be a guy that causes the type of emotional pain on his family. His livelihood, whether a guy can work or do things because football is football. At the end of the day, it's not who we are. It's just what we do. So I think Martellus Bennett said that very, very well, very soulfully. But, I mean, Brandon Merriweather, a guy who has been with the Patriots, he's been with the Bears, with Washington now, he's been with a few other teams. He has a track record of doing this. Should he be fined and suspended for more than 2 games? It was recently reduced to 1, but should he be fined and suspended for more?
It's a touchy subject. It's kind of difficult to decide one way or the other. I mean, a suspension is, he's losing thousands and thousands of dollars in the 6 figures. I think, yes, he should be suspended, and he was suspended. I think 1 game is appropriate. I do. I think,
really?
I do. Considering, yes, he, well, first let me say I like Martellus Bennett standing up for his teammates, and I like what he said, but I think you have to consider that this is what, this kind of what they signed up for. And I think safeties in particular, this is how they play, and this is how they're coached to play. And it's bad. I mean, it is what it is, though. And I think particularly with a Mike Shanahan team, where he's coached John Lynch before him, these are the type of safeties he likes. And frankly, if you kick Meriweather out of the league, there are 100 free agents right now who will play the same way for Shanahan.
I don't know if they would, because I don't think a lot of the guys who are free agents have the track record that Brandon Merriweather does. I mean, he's been fined over and over and over again for hits, targeting to the head, leading with his head. I mean, he got knocked out of a game when trying to knock someone else out of a game. I mean, he knocked out Eddie Lacy. He put his head into James Starks. I think it was like week 3, and then he got knocked out. So here's the other thing, though, Dave. When you say this is what they signed up for, I don't think they signed up to get CTE later in their careers. I mean, let's just be real about that. But out of anything, if you want to limit the risk, and a guy is known for doing this and is known for injuring players and targeting the head, launching his entire body head first into another guy's head, why not take a cautionary route and you can't kick him out of the league. I mean, this isn't like doing steroids over and over and over again in baseball. But if the commissioner wants to say that I'm trying to take a stance on this, suspend him for half a season.
I mean, that would be an unprecedented move.
It would, but
if it were to happen, I think it would probably Merriweather would be the guy. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, it definitely won't happen. But I'm saying, speaking to your point, this is what they signed up for. I don't think they signed up to take hits over and over and over to the head. Sure, they know that they're going to take some hits to the head, but if you could limit a third of those hits from one guy knocking out a player a game, I'm all for it. Yeah,
and you make a good point, but the reality is this is how the safety position has been played for decades. This is how these players are coached to play. Fast and ruthless. And don't give up a hit. It's a hit first, ask questions later position. So it's tough. It's, you're trying to domesticate a wild lion. If you're trying to reel him in and say, listen, buddy, you need to calm down. Don't go for the head. We have the luxury of being able to watch from a distance and from being able to watch, with instant replays and all of that. These guys don't. These guys go out there and they do everything they can to prevent the other team from scoring and prevent wide receivers from coming across the middle if you're a safety, and to strike the fear of God in these guys. That's how they are coached to play.
So you guys obviously see where we stand. We are certainly not agreeing at all on this point. So we're leaving it up to you in the comments. And also, please do us a favor, support the Indiegogo campaign by clicking the link in the description below.
And let me clarify,
Yes,
I don't agree with the way he plays, but I think the reality of the situation is that
Is that it's a fast game.
it's a fast game. That's how safeties are coached to play.
Okay, so here's my very, very last point. I feel like we're pulling a Cenk Uygur on this. Here's the very, 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 very last point. They are slowly teaching younger players how to tackle. Yeah. And they have put out these instructional videos. I mean, the NFL has tried to speak to their players many, many times. Obviously, Brandon Merriweather is not catching any hints of that.
He's not.
But, I mean, out of anything, I understand that he's somewhat of an older player, but it's not too late to learn. I mean, we talked about you learning Twitter. I mean, like, they're two separate things. But the fact is, if you want to learn how to do it and not get fined and not get suspended, then he'll learn how to do it. And he has simply ignored that time and time again.
I think the next generation of safeties will probably play differently. I think college coaches will coach differently, but I think the reality of today's game is that this is what safeties are. This is what they are going to do.
Unless you have Greg Williams as your defensive coordinator. Yeah, exactly.